The following broadcast may contain explicit language and adult themes. Viewer discretion is advised. The opinions expressed in this broadcast are those of the hosts, talent, and guests, and do not reflect the opinions, views, and standards of Pyro Media Enterprises, affiliates, subsidiaries, or its members.
And you better talk to me nicely. Next to blow, little bitch, I might be. Oh, can't forget all the days they overpriced me. So now that we up, don't good advice we know. Talk to me nicely. I know that they heated, we getting icy. Whoa, can't forget all the moments they overpriced me. So now that we up, don't good advice we know. We on top, flipping the bird, they going sick. But I'ma make a meet.
Hey, everybody, it is Giselle, and I am back for a ventilation session, okay? So as we move through this show, I wanted to give you all things that give the show a little pizzazz, right? Like we can do the same format that everybody else is doing and try to recreate the wheel with the show that's already been done. But here over at I Have Thoughts, I just wanted to, sometimes be able to have thoughts. So today is going to be one of our ventilation episodes. And what ventilation episodes are going to be is a time for me to do some self-reflection about a specific topic that is plaguing my life. And so I'm sure it's plaguing some of you all's lives, okay? And today's topic is going to be imposter syndrome because I have been having several bouts of it, okay? I have been having several bouts of imposter syndrome. So in case you have not known, the girl is out here girling and the girl has been out here working. And just to be clear, yes, I am a Black trans woman, but my work does not start and end in June, okay? The girl be working before and after and continues to work throughout the entire year. So I know that some people are gonna hear this ventilation session and go, oh girl, well after June, you'll be fine. I will not, But that is what spaces like this are, and that's what episodes like this are for, is for me to unpack my stuff so that y'all can also help yourselves unpack your things, and we can learn from each other. I expect the comments to be filled with different ways that people help themselves or maybe even other friends deal with being an imposter or feeling like an imposter sometimes as I do this. And so if y'all got tips and tricks, if my aunties, my uncles, and my older elders are out there and y'all are listening to this like, girl, I've been there, you tripping, you know what I'm saying? You 29-year-olds think the world is ending. Here's what I did when I was 29 to fix it. I implore you to give me that feedback and that wisdom because that's why y'all are here. Y'all been through it, so I don't have to go through it for too long, okay? I got a lot of stuff going on, okay? I've got a lot of stuff going on, from being pulled and snatched to get this award, from being snatched and pulled to being, the NYC Pride Grand Marshal, to being snatched and pulled to doing a movie. There are so many things that I have coming up. And I just want to let y'all know that it feels good to get the email. It feels amazing to get the call. It feels even better to do the work. But when you are in those spaces, y'all, sometimes you feel like you are a fish out of water and like you simply just don't belong because other people have larger names, other people have bigger platforms, other people are actually famous, and you're just somebody that's trying to, get where they at. And I genuinely just, okay. Okay. So I was invited to get a special award from the folks over at the Marsha P. Johnston Institute in New York, okay? I felt so great to get this award, but because I had so many things going on, I almost missed my opportunity. So before I even got an opportunity to go and get this award, I was filming a movie. And I think I have a little clip for y'all of what the set might have looked like and like some behind the scenes. But I was filming this really, really dope movie that is scheduled to come out later on this year. No, I can't give you the name. No, I can't give you the title. No, I can't give you nothing except the fact that I'm going to be in a movie and it'll be out a little bit later this year. It's a feature film that's being produced by A24 Films. They're known for films like Zola and other films featuring Amanda Seyfried and all those things. This movie is not going to be any different. If you see, look at me out there like a fish out of water, literally out of water. The fish is out of water on the deck of the boat. And one of the things that I loved about this process was the fact that I was able to see the inner workings of a major production. I've been on television shows, I've done like little one-off here, I've done, different cameos and things of that nature. But this was a major production film that was, a couple $1 million. And I felt really, really great to be there. But my imposter syndrome set in when I realized that people were willing to do things for me, like run to Sephora, because my foundation was wrong and I made a slight complaint about the makeup artist. People were willing to like stop doing whatever their job that they got hired to do was when I stubbed my toe, right? And it wasn't until I realized how folks were looking at me to do or to figure out how to be that I was like, oh, I don't belong here, right? Part of me felt undeserving for having people treat me like a full human being that was worthy of their time simply because I was a specific type of person on the cast. But in life and in everyday life, y'all, like as a Black trans woman, I'm not treated with that type of respect. Like, ain't nobody going out of their way to make sure that I have my foundation shade or making sure that I have a fucking, first aid kit when I stub my toe and things of that nature. Nobody's going out of their way to make sure that I have the specific brand of sparkling water that I like, just because they have to. And I think that when you start to ascend, and it doesn't even have to be something as huge as a movie, right? Sometimes it could be something as simple as getting a position at your job that is a promotion and having folks look at you a little differently and having your boss talk to you with a little bit more respect, or having, the person that you work next to or closest to start to lean into you for advice about how to do the job that you've been trying to help them do for the last 6 months. There's just something that's a little bit off when you start to ascend. And I think that for a lot of us, it shows and it rears its ugly little head in the form of imposter syndrome. I think right after I left the movie, there was another thing that happened, which was I got a chance to revisit my beautiful pink birthday dress. And I wore it to the award ceremony that I was. Now, this dress was so beautiful. I loved it, by Riley Knox. She's another trans woman out there. Take a look at it, girl. Y'all see that? Look at that. Riley had me, look here, slaying. Okay. Now, this was for the Marsha P. Johnson Institute gala that they threw, and I was one of the award recipients. And I felt like I did not belong there in so many ways because I didn't feel like I was deserving of flowers from a community that is so marginalized that we don't have time to be, throwing parties and giving each other flowers. And I'm looking at all of the amazing other Black trans women and femmes and some of the Black trans men that were honored in that particular space. And I'm thinking about how impactful the work that each and every single one of us does. And I just don't feel like we have time to be sipping drinks and partying and cackling and gallivanting because there is so much stuff to do and to be fixed. There's a part of me that feels like an imposter every time I settle down and stick my feet in the sand. And there's a part of me that feels like I don't deserve to take a moment away from all of this junk and all of this crap and enjoy moments like that, because something tells me that every single time that we take a moment to enjoy ourselves, we're going to turn around and be thwarted with something else that makes us feel like we have to stop enjoying ourselves in order to get the freedom that we need for these things to be justifiable. I don't like going into spaces and feeling like as a Black trans woman, I'm being celebrated for being one with the platform or for being the one with the voice or for being the one with the right words, when there are so many of my sisters that are busting their ass 10 times harder than me, that are working 10 times harder than I am, that are feeding 10 times more people, paying 10 times more bills, housing 10 times more folks, just in general. And here I am at this gala with this beautiful custom-made gown on, talking about the disparities of trans people while being a trans person that doesn't feel those disparities in the same way anymore, right? And I remember thinking back to a video that I made maybe about 5 or 6 years ago at this point, when I talked about the trans women, right, at the top of the food chain that didn't necessarily need the same visibility as those of us at the time, myself included, needed. And now I feel myself becoming one of those people. And some would call it a fruits of labor sort of deal. I'm not sure if I want to lean into that moniker just yet. I think that fruit of the labor is the thing that you get once that labor has actually been done and laid to rest. I feel like a lot of the work that we're doing hasn't been laid to rest. And sometimes, you all, while I recognize that I need a break, I also recognize that it's real to feel like we shouldn't take breaks that are anything other than being able to check in with your body for a couple of days and get back to it until we're actually finished. I want to party like it's 1999 when trans people no longer have to look over our shoulders to get health care. I want to party like my mama and them did at Freaknik. You know what I'm saying? When we're able to marry our partners and love our partners, and we can actually go out on a date and not have to disclose that we're trans because it really don't even matter. Like, I can't wait until we live in a world where that is the exception. But until then, I just don't see the need for all of these galas and these gatherings anymore. And especially because I feel like in a lot of spaces, I am the one being pretentious and making other people feel like there's a lack of access to resource. And in other spaces, I feel like I've just been invited because somebody needed to hit a quota. There was a diversity quota that needed to be met. And here I am meeting it. Which brings me to my next point before we go on a real quick little commercial break. I was invited to host a party for Pride. And I was invited by a business partner of mine. And at this party, I recognized very quickly that I didn't feel like I deserved the woes of the party. But here's why. I show up and I'm in this really cute little white mesh number giving Miami Vice. You know, BFA is there. Look at that. Look, she gave what was supposed to be gave, right? And so BFA is there. They're taking pictures. Getty is there. They're taking pictures. And I'm one of the people that folks want to take pictures of. And I'm just like, this is surreal. This is different. But there's a section, and this section has bottles upon bottles upon bottles that I'm not gonna drink because I'm not a drinker, you know. And I'm gonna have maybe 2 cocktails, and then this bottle of God knows how expensive Dom Perignon is gonna go to waste, and God knows how more expensive this other bottle of God knows what this is, you know, is gonna go to waste. And I'm thinking about the amount of money that people spent on this party, and I'm asking myself, as a person who wants to advocate, as a person that wants to be a voice of the people, can I still be a voice of the people while enjoying spaces like this and moments like this and being this girl, right? I'm on here today with no makeup on, in my glasses, hair not done, looking crazy for a multitude of reasons. And one of them is just because sometimes I feel like you have to peel back all of those things and deal with the real, right? Like, this is the real for me. This is the real, and this is how I see myself on a regular basis. I would love it if this was my everyday real. I would love it if I didn't feel the pressures of hopping on the YouTubes or hopping onto a set or hopping anywhere and not feeling like I had to show up as this $1 million baby. But unfortunately, that's what it is. And I'm simply just not sure if that is the life that I necessarily want if the work ain't done. Right. Now, what I'm saying is, and what I'm not saying is that I don't think that people deserve breaks, right? If you are doing your damnedest at your job, if you are doing your damnedest with those kids, if you are doing your damnedest, you know, with your wife and your marriage or you know, your partner in your marriage or whatever the case may be, then absolutely you always take time and you deserve a break. But I think that celebratory moments and moments of splurge and grandeur should be reserved for actual moments of splurge and grandeur. Not because we got to a point where something feels like there's a Band-Aid on it long enough for us to be able to party for a week without having to hold it up. I don't want to be a hold it up person. I don't want to be a slap a Band-Aid on it person. And I for damn sure don't want to be somebody that has to look back and think about whether or not I made the right decisions in the spaces that I chose to network in, because I needed to be the center of attention in order to continue to get the resources that I need to do the work that I want to do. And this is why I feel like an imposter. The work that I want to do and the movement work that I've been doing hasn't required me to show up in fancy dresses. It didn't require me to come to a party and host people. It didn't require me to look as if I had more money than I did, or to look like I was connected to people that I barely even know. It just required me to have a passion for the work and have a passion for the people that I'm serving, and do so unabashedly. And with that being said, y'all, it only gets worse. But we'll talk about that when we come back from this commercial break from our sponsors. See y'all in a second.
Talk to me nicely. Next to blow, little bitch, I might be. Oh, can't forget all the days they overpriced me. So now-
This episode is sponsored in part by Bullet and Flight Radio. Get ready to uplift your spirit with Bullet and Flight Radio, the world's leading progressive Christian radio station. Experience the vibrant fusion of gospel house music and a rich medley of inspiration from all musical genres that'll make your heart soar. Join their extraordinary lineup of today's trailblazers, visionaries, and voices that matter, all sharing their stories and wisdom. Stay plugged in around the clock as they broadcast unmissable content 24/7. Your go-to station for all things inspiring. Become a pilot today by visiting bulletandflightradio.com. Bullet and Flight Radio. Your story, our station.
I noticed they heated, we getting icy. Whoa, can't forget all the moments they overpriced me. So now that we up, don't get it.
So I'm back, and if you have missed the first part of this before commercial break, or you're just tuning in with us, I am talking about imposter syndrome today on my ventilation session. Now, y'all know we usually get into the hot topics, and I give y'all my opinions about current things that are going on in the world, but on ventilation sessions, we're doing a little something different. I pick a topic about something that is inspiring me or troubling me in my life, and we get through it, and y'all give me and other people who are definitely sure to need some of the advice in the comments, or you share some of your own bouts with the issues at hand, right? And today's issues at hand are imposter syndrome, okay? I've been having a couple of bouts with it, and I am trying to unpack it with y'all, because who better than to unpack it with than some strangers you don't know that support you on the internet, child. Don't believe me? Just try it, okay? So one of the other things that I was able to do in the last couple of weeks was I was able to be one of the Grand Marshals for Pride for NYC, and that just took place on yesterday, okay? I was there, and I was a little Pride person. Y'all see, they gave me a little sash. It was real cute. Beyonce sent me some stuff to wear and all that jazz. They had me riding around in the car, had my little name on the side. I felt real exclusive and professional and all of the things. Look at me, living my best life, and Beyonce is proud of me, I am sure. The Parkwood team is getting a whole life, because you know they're gonna use these photos, right? You know, Beyonce over there, you know, telling the whole world it's okay to be gay very subtly, and now you got this trans girl riding on the back of this car in this fresh Ivy Park. It don't get no better than this for publicity. And I set it up this way because in the midst of talking about imposter syndrome, we also want to talk about access and resource. And this is how you get it, right? Being super hyper visible and doing so in a way that is I guess, easy for other people to grasp. But with that being said, here's where my imposter syndrome started kicking my ass. I am one of about 4 different people who were asked to be Grand Marshals. Now, we were asked to be Grand Marshals because we were supposed to represent different sectors of the community and different parts and be representation for them in different ways. Also, just in case you don't know how the Grand Marshalling works, this is not something that NYC Pride staff chooses. It's something that you are nominated for by folks in community. And so if you don't like the people that were submitted as Grand Marshals, the next year be sure to submit your own people in community that you think are doing the work, including if you think that needs to be me next year. Like if you still want to see me back up there, you like what I had going on, then submit to NYC Pride and be like, hey, she didn't get enough shine, right? But that is how that works. And I honestly didn't even know. But if you look in this picture that's on the screen right now, I also headlined with the Billy Porter of Pose, of, you know, a couple of different movies, the fairy godmother on Cinderella, and all of those things. Now, let me tell y'all something. It's one thing to get an invitation to a space where you know that the people are going to be there and you're going to do the things. It's another thing to be asked to stand beside these people as a co-lead when you don't feel like you have the same audience or the same outreach or the same visibility as they do. And so what I recognized very soon into this process was that Billy and I were kind of sort of expected to hold a majority of the audience attention. And I think that I was cool with that expectation until I realized that Billy is an international celebrity, and I am just Hope Giselle, famous to some people in the trans community, known by other people in the Hotep community for being the girl that tricked Dr. Umar. And to some people, I'm just a pretty trans girl, very similar to the Amaya Scott aesthetic of the 2000s, like the very early 2000s, where people didn't care about Amaya's transness and what she might be going through, but they liked to follow her because she was cute, you know? And I feel like that's the gambit of people that kind of sort of get in on the Hope Giselle train. And those things don't set in until you're faced with looking at how celebrities show up. You know what I'm saying? And Billy showed up with a team of people, his husband, fans, an album to promote, just like all of these different things that were going on that he had in his arsenal to just like show up with. On top of that, he showed up, you know, fashioned out, styled out, just all of these things. And in my mind, I'm like, y'all are gonna put me next to this man and sit me next to this person and all of these things. And I have to like hold my own weight in a space that is not just based off of the idea that I'm a great activist, that I know what I'm talking about, that I advocate for the things that are important, and that I put my body on the line in spaces and in ways that a lot of other people are not willing to do. But it's about the idea that this person has been on television screens and TV shows and in movie box offices that I have yet to see or to occupy. And you're telling us that we're doing the same thing, but I'm very sure, like in my mind, and when I dig deep into myself, that we're different and we're on two different levels. And who's gonna want to hear my shit? This is where I started to really understand where Kelly Rowland was coming from when she made the track about dirty laundry. It's like when you have Beyonce, like, yes, I'm talented. Yes, I'm all of these things. Yes, I'm a beautiful chocolate woman, but that's Beyonce. Who want to listen to my little shit when you got Beyonce? And it doesn't matter that I was in a group with her. If you have to choose between me and Beyonce, you gonna choose Beyonce, right? And in some degrees, this was me having my Kelly moment and feeling like I was Kelly and Billy was Beyonce, right? And I had this huge idea that there's something wrong with feeling as if you are not like on the same level as people while also being invited to those same spaces. And one of the organizers of NYC Pride, she is amazing. And she pulled me to the side and she's like, Hope, are you okay? And I was just like, well, you know, I'm good. You know, like I'm good. My husband's here. My mom's here. Like, it's all good. Like, I'm good. Everybody's having a good time. And she says, well, you know, it just doesn't look like you are having a good time. And this was before the march got ready to start. This was like right around like interview times. Like we had a couple of interviews with like ABC and like some other different folks that were covering the march. And I was like, you know, I'm just, you know, it's Billy Porter. You know, how do you compete? Like, and I'm gonna be in the car right before his. Like, I don't like. I'm not sure if I'm ready. Like, I feel like it might be a little embarrassing. Like, nobody's gonna clap for me, and then right after that, nobody claps for me. They're gonna all like go crazy for him because nobody knows who I am. And that was when she told me that, you know, she's like, Hope, these, you know, pride things come from nominations. We don't just choose y'all out of a hat because we like you. People in community have chosen y'all. People in community have spoken up and said that this is what they want. And so if you are here, it is because people do absolutely know who you are, and they will most certainly be clapping for you. You go out there and you have an amazing time and you be the Hope Giselle that people know you to be, and everything else will be what it is because you are who you are. And I took those words very, very like seriously. because it meant a lot to me that I had somebody that was reminding me of where the fuck I came from. And it's not often that I need, pep talks about where I came from and who I am. But I will say that sometimes when you're sitting in the face of the situation, it's a lot different. I got into those cars, as y'all saw, and I turned on my charm, and I did what Hope does. You know what I'm saying? I laughed and I smiled with people. I pointed people out, as people definitely did recognize me, and let them know that I saw them and that they saw me, and all of the things. I just wanted to let people know that I was there with them, and that I was grateful for just being able to have the opportunity. I think that my imposter syndrome was determined to put me in a space where all I wanted to do was just sit on the back of the car and kind of ride, right? And that's not me. I don't go anywhere and just blend in. I can barely walk down a hallway of people and blend in, let alone be on the back of an expensive Jaguar that I could probably never afford, at least not right now, with my feet up in front of this little white man that's trying not to get hit with my shingles as I'm shaking around, all in his face while he's trying to drive this car and not kill us all. And it felt good to have somebody remind me that I wasn't an imposter, and that if I was invited to this space, that I was deserving of this space, and I needed to utilize this space in the way that everybody else was supposed to utilize the space. And I did that. And so I think that I wanted to end this episode and talk a little bit about what it means to feel like an imposter, and the fact that we're all going to experience it. I think for me, feeling like an imposter feels a little bit like being at the top of your game and being able to say it to yourself, but denying it when anybody else actually tries to give you credit for it. You ever have a friend, or maybe you are the friend, where you've been working on something and you've been doing something for forever and it's been going really, really great, but then you finally have your moment. You have your a celebrity buys your brand and it pops off. The doctor finally tells you that it's your last, dose of chemo, or, your kids tell you that they're proud of the work that you're doing as a parent, whatever the case may be, right? And this. You've admitted this to yourself. You've had this conversation with yourself in the mirror. You had that talk with yourself in your prayer closet. You knew that you were leveling up. You knew that the time was near. But the thing about it was, you didn't think that anybody else saw it. And the second that somebody calls it out, your imposter syndrome forces you to be modest and remind them that you ain't nobody. And I think that today's final thought is this. You are all of the things that you set out to be. You are the very person that you said you wanted to become all of those years ago. And if you're not, there's never a time where you can't strive to be that person. You are inspiring somebody right now with your story. You have empowered somebody with your voice. You have shed a tear with people that will never be able to thank you for the strength that you gave them in those tears. You have broken bread with people that will never be able to repay you in food, but are going to repay you in the exposure that they give when they talk about you and explain to people what an angel you are to them in their life. You are more than the thing that you think that you are not. And you are everything that you have worked for to get there. And don't let anybody, but especially yourself, trick you out of celebrating your success. Doing so in a way that feels comfortable to your brand and comfortable to your morals is important. That feels great. That's awesome. But also, kicking yourself out of the rooms that you were invited to because you are too afraid to stand in your truth is some punk bitch ass shit. And I'm not just talking to y'all, but I'm talking to myself too. So I hope that as you listen to this episode about imposter syndrome, you recognize that not only do I deserve to be in the spaces that I've been invited to, but so do you. And if you have any tips and tricks that can help us all navigate them when we start to feel them rear their ugly little heads, then please share them, pop them in the comments so that we can get better at not being imposters and treating ourselves like less than, when we know that we are not just a dime, but the entire fucking dollar. And the world is going to have to fold us to get into where we're going next. Until next time, y'all, like I say, this time and every time, have the day that you deserve, and I will see y'all around. Bye, everybody.
Talk to me nicely. I noticed they heated, we getting icy. Whoa, can't forget all the moments they overpriced me. So now that we up, don't good advice, we know.
If you enjoyed this content, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to Pyro Media Network's YouTube channel for more awesome content. Plus, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss when we go live or upload new videos. Visit PyroMediaNetwork.com today, not just to check out our incredible roster of talented creatives, but also to gain access to exclusive bonus material available only to our Pyro fam. Show your support for this Black-owned indie network by donating today. Help us keep igniting brands everywhere.